Hi, my name is Sheri Hadfield, and I help people in chronic pain to thrive by reducing their pain, depression, and exhaustion so that they can take back the freedom in their lives to fully enjoy their relationships, their careers, and their hobbies. Well, what I wanted to talk to you about today is limiting beliefs. And limiting beliefs, by definition, the limiting beliefs are the beliefs that you hold true in your life from childhood, and they limit the actions that you will take and the possibilities that you see because you believe them. And it's typically because someone really close to you who you trusted told you that or said something that made you believe that. And so you log that in your subconscious mind, and it is now a belief. And the more times someone you care about or trust says that again, you're collecting evidence of it, and it becomes a really profound truth. So limiting beliefs are the beliefs that you don't decide them for yourself. You gain them through life experience as a child from ages 0 to 6. So as we've discussed in the past, your mind from 0 to 6, when you think about your abilities to really understand what's going on and to be able to verbalize it and discuss it and say, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I want, this is what I'm scared of, to be able to have those types of meaningful ideas, connections, and conversations so that you could process something, you're not capable of doing that during those ages. And also, the way that that a young mind interprets something doesn't mean it's true. It is just what you interpret or perceive at the time, and you base a lot of your beliefs on that going forward without ever making a decision to do so. So I find that limiting beliefs are a huge factor in identifying them and releasing them, reframing them, is a huge factor in helping people reduce significantly chronic pain, chronic illnesses. So for example, I'm trying to think of some examples I've had. Someone believing that I had a client that had a D&C, so it's when the pregnancy is in some type of difficulty and they decide to terminate the pregnancy, and it's handled by a doctor, and they feel like it's the best thing for the mother, and I think they feel like the baby isn't going to make it. And so that was an event that happened to her. She came to see me in chronic pain, years and years of chronic pain. I didn't know that story at all. We regress back, and the first scene is as a really young person in church, and the preacher telling her all the things you go to hell for, and all the things that aren't allowed. And it made a huge impression. She felt like he was yelling, and it was thunderous. And then the second scene was also happening at the church, and again going over as you got older what good girls do and what good girls don't do. And then the third scene was having the D&C. And her belief from all of it was she never agreed to begin with at the church that all of those things would cause you to go to hell. It was hard for her to conceive of that being true. It didn't ring true for her, but it terrified her. And then the second scene, when we went back through it, all had to do with, again, all the things that good girls do and don't do. And abortion was brought up a lot. And she didn't want to tell her family that she'd had D&C because she didn't want them to feel like she'd had an abortion. And those three scenes together, for her, made it really clear that she had this tremendous, and she just really got upset during the DNC when saying she thought the DNC was the right thing. And she didn't think you go to hell for having a DNC or an abortion. What she felt was all the people in her life don't feel she's worthy or a good girl or lovable because she didn't believe any of those things. She didn't believe it at all. Well, you can see how it would make a person feel a tremendous amount of guilt later on in life when you do something medically that you feel like you should do, and you feel like you can't tell anyone that you're close to, or you don't know how they would feel about you anymore because you already had doubts about it because you always knew you didn't believe the other. And that secret you managed to keep, but how it makes you feel. But we did a session on that. Huge, significant reduction in pain over the next, well, a lot immediately and then over the next month. And guilt is a big one. And guilt is a bear. And when it ties back to something like that, an activity that you did in your lifetime that maybe you don't feel guilty about, but you feel like everyone you love would feel guilty about. And then she said the fact that she felt like she'd kind of been lying to them her whole life because she didn't agree with the real traditional views of their religion. So you can see limiting beliefs can have a huge effect on you. And when you identify them and go back to them, there's a lot of events in your life that are traumatic. There's a lot of events in your life that caused you to develop beliefs about yourself and what your capacity is, what your resources are, how well you're going to do. And when you believe that earning a certain amount of money is the ceiling, or everyone, if you've heard your whole life, everyone who gets cancer, oh my goodness, people don't make it through cancer. If you believe that and you've heard it as a child your whole life and you had someone die from cancer, and then 30 years later you've never thought about it one way or the other particularly, but you experienced it as a child and then you get a diagnosis of it, it's amazing what those type of things can do because it becomes complex. If you've seen several activities in your life and then it happens to you, you can automatically go there with it. So having a bunch of limiting beliefs is very similar to when we were talking on the last video about multiple traumas in your lifetime. There are things that can cause you to trigger because if your activities are in conflict with them, and you didn't create them. So you probably consciously don't believe them, but your subconscious holds on to it and believes that that's in your best interest and that those are the rules. And so it sends you in that direction and you create your reality based within those rules and those limitations. And it has a profound impact on your life and on your health and on your well-being. And you can turn it around. Well, I want to thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, as always, drop me a comment. And if you have interest in discussing working together, there will be a link below for a strategy call. You fill out a survey, and if we feel like it's a mutually interesting thing, we can discuss what happened to you, what caused your chronic pain, what your situation is currently, and I'll tell you more about what I do and see if we might like to work together. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.